Oh, and by the way, here's some interesting articles I found on Inuits and on Eskimos and natives of Alaska since everybody's on that topic. What the fuck happened to these guys? We're gonna go through a lot of pictures showing uh, quote unquote Eskimos. They don't look like the guy that was complaining in the video. Picture of a quote unquote Alaskan natives, Eskimos. We're going to see that they're described as swarthy a lot, and that there's two types of Eskimos, that the term Eskimo can't just be applied to one person, nor should it, nor is it a derogatory term to describe people who are titled as Eskimos. These are all legit pictures of Eskimos, Inuits, other tribes that exist or dwell in the Arctic Circle. We're going to read about the story of this girl right here. Dark skin, black eyes, black hair. A native, an Eskimo. A black-eyed Eskimo girl picked up east. A black-eyed, swarthy little Eskimo girl who can remember only that she comes from Alaska is waiting for somebody to claim her at the General Hospital here. She was picked up ill and fainting by the police Wednesday. Physicians guess that she is about 9 years old. She was penniless and carried only a small comb. She speaks English brokenly and mumbles incoherently. She was dressed in a dark gray woolen knitted dress in green cloth, and it goes on to describe her. The article ends right there. Swarthy, black-eyed Eskimo girl. So before you try to jump on here and talk about that picture's not real, that's not real, that's a fake picture, that's an infamous picture of an Eskimo girl, one that I was shocked by and taken back by. This was like 2022, I think, when I originally started doing research into the Inuits and Eskimos and extremely northern Arctic Circle tribes of Indians. Another swarthy Eskimo female. The Eskimos that we see nowadays don't look like her. Here is a vintage Eskimo doll. Once we get into these dolls, why is it that every effing Native American doll that you look up on eBay and you go to the most expensive and the most oldest ones, you'll always find them mixed? One you'll see is pale skin, pale white, and the other you'll see is as dark as this. And they're both supposed to be of the same tribe. It always confuses me. Who's telling the truth, you know? In case you try to say I'm making it up and I just pulled that doll out of my ass. $6. If you want it, go get it. Vintage Eskimo doll. Black as hell. More vintage Eskimo dolls. Vintage Eskimo doll, original, fur leather, $30. Doesn't look like the guy that was complaining about the use of the word, does it? Vintage, regal, Inuit Eskimo, soft-faced doll and toddler and baby, $14. I can keep on going all day. Don't fuck with me. Come on. I do this. A newspaper article. Arctic natives learn jitterbug dances. The annual excursion dance this year at the Hudson Bay port saw scores of swarthy Eskimos eagerly learning the latest new black dance. As I read in the previous video, the exact ethnological status of the Eskimos, it is believed, will be determined. Anthropologists agree they are of Asiatic origin. Eskimos are constantly traveling between two continents, walking on the ice across the Bering Straits in the winter and paddling across in their bidarkas in the summer. They are not close ethnologic kin to the North American Indians, if kin at all. And this exhaustive investigation may determine their closest racial affinities. The natives are short, swarthy people, Eskimos, people/Eskimos with a Chinese look to them, just like that little swarthy girl with black eyes. I'm going to read from another article that talks, just like I've read from articles that talk about two different type of colored Jews, that talk about two different colored Inuits, as you see. Inuit sister models from Yellow, whatever. Another Inuit model, Willow Allen. What's going on here? A man talking about a group of Eskimo girls that were going to be uh, dates for a party or to meet them after some sort of social event. Let me just read the article. They are not wandering, they are wandering people, not like the ordinary Eskimo of Indian type, who have swarthy faces, jet black eyes, and coarse straight black hair, like horsehair. The blonde Eskimos, according to the scientist, are descendants of the party who came with Eric the Red to Greenland long before Columbus discovered America. They are not blonde in the ordinary sense of the word. Their skins are dark, but where the Indian has black hair, black eyes, these blonde Eskimos have brown, gray, or blue eyes and soft, dark hair. They have not got the high cheekbones of the Indian. Two different types, and as we see, as I read before, the term Eskimo applied to all groups of people that resided, specifically Asiatic people that resided in the Arctic Circle, not just in Alaska, not just on the American part where you would use the term native to describe them, but across the whole Arctic Circle. So that meant Eskimos in Greenland. I have articles talking about Eskimos in Russia. Anywhere that's in the Arctic Circle, it's associated with Eskimos. By the way, let's just get the definition of swarthy so we can know what they're talking about. Dark colored, especially of skin, 1580s. Explained, alternative, swarthy. The more definitions you look up for the term swarthy, Schwartz, Old English, black, dark, of night clouds. The more you go back and the more definitions you look for swarthy farther back, the more you're going to find more definitions that tell you it is in terms of dark skin. You'll even find some definitions that cue the term. You can find men of swarthy skin in the tropics of the world. But as we read in the Anacalypsis by Godfrey Higgins, he tells us that the Negro, or black people, Negroes, can be found in both hot and cold climates. So do with that information what you want. This is just me kind of giving you a dump because the term Eskimo came up and I just had a bunch of stuff on it. So showing you some interesting things. Now, somebody mentioned the term Algonquin being similar, or you can use the term Algonquin and you can kind of throw it in the loop with Inuit and the term Eskimo. I got another interesting article on Algonquin Indians. Road to Ease. A black-skinned Algonquin Indian canoes down to the Hudson Bay. Wasn't that in the last article I met the Hudson Bay, where a lot of these other Eskimo tribes would meet and dance? The Hudson Bay, the last article I just read, where a bunch of swarthy Eskimos got together to dance the jitterbug. And here we got an article, Road to Ease, a black-skinned Algonquin Indian canoes down to the Hudson Bay. Post at Bear Island, Ontario. He brings a story about an Eskimo in the far north who has tamed polar bears, such as Wilmingtonians have seen in zoos and circuses, and trained them to do his heavy teaming. Big game hunters will doubt it, and it goes on to describe all this stuff. But nonetheless, a black-skinned Algonquin Indian. Kind of looks like the dolls that I just showed. An Algonquin, or not an Algonquin, an Eskimo, an Inuit. Swarthy, dark-skinned. Just like I just read all those descriptions of the Eskimo people being swarthy. There's a picture of a swarthy Eskimo. Last article. Again, the swarthy Eskimos. The Eskimo village contains a number of those strange little men and women from the frozen Arctic, and their daily lives are pictured faithfully. Let's jump down to here. The Philippine, that's an interesting name for a reservation. The Philippine Reservation, or Philippian, where all little brown men and women this is just stuff I found. It has nothing to do with what he was bringing up. I'm just giving you the drop and all the information I've had on Eskimos for years. now since it became a topic today. So